Hello everyone, and it's time for Fox Reads the State of Decay 2 patch notes, this time for update 23, which is both the Lethal Zone update and the Stay Frosty update. Pretty sure that's what it's called. Anyways, here we go, so let's get right to it. A lethal shade of winter. As the nights grow longer, the darkness seems to grow deeper and more terrifying. For many of us, this provides a fine excuse to seek out the warm glow of a fire, or at least a light bulb. However, if you're the type who faces danger with bravado, reveling in every surge of adrenaline, well, this update is most especially dedicated to you, my friend. Read on, if you dare. Be careful what you wish for. For months, we've heard your plaintive cries. Nightmare zones aren't hard enough, you said. Where are all the plague freaks, you asked, and asked, and asked, and asked, and asked. We need a real challenge, you insisted. All right, message received, and welcome to the Lethal Zone. This new ultra-hardcore difficulty mode presents the very toughest version of State of Decay 2 that you've ever seen. Zombies are even more dangerous, resources and weapons are even harder to find, and blood plague kills you even faster than in Nightmare Zone. And yes, all the freaks have blood plague. You are welcome. Wait, I scrolled. Wait, where am I? Oh. As with the other 4 difficulty levels, you can either set your entire game to lethal, or you can move 1 or 2 sliders up to dabble with this terrifying new experience. Here are the challenges you can look forward to. Lethal action. Combat is murderously unfair. All sources deal 100% damage to the player, as opposed to 60% damage in Nightmare Zone. Infection gains from zombies are 100%, as opposed to 60% in Nightmare Zone. Infection from plague consumables is unchanged. Okay, that's good to know. Blood plague kills survivors within 5 minutes of infection, compared to 10 minutes in Nightmare Zone. Zombies can cause nearly twice as many different injuries as they do at the lower difficulties, leading to deeper injury stacks piling up. That's the mechanic that causes you to die. Injuries and trauma. Trauma is created from injuries. That's actually what causes your character to die, so that's relevant. Duplicate injuries instead apply 80% of that injury as trauma, up from 66% in Nightmare Zone. Dodging costs 100% stamina, as opposed to 50% in Nightmare Zone. Vehicles take 300% damage from hitting or getting hit by zombies, up from the 160 to 80% in Nightmare Zone. So basically, could we say that they are twice as vulnerable? They also take 200% damage from all other sources, up from 125% to 150% in Nightmare Zone. The undead are terrifying and relentless. All freaks have been replaced with the blood plague freaks from the Heartland update. You can encounter hordes with one of each plague freak. It's a plague party. Gun noise is raised by 150%, up from plus 75% in Nightmare Zone. So I guess that means you could say guns are twice as loud as they were in Nightmare Zone. Zombies will now chase a sound for up to 5 minutes, compared to giving up after 1 minute in Nightmare Zone. Got your running shoes on? The baseline siege threat at your base starts at 8, as opposed to 5 in Nightmare Zone. Plague hearts are extremely tenacious and dangerous. Destroying a plague heart does not kill all of the nearby plague zombies. Plague hearts take significantly less damage. Note that melee is now comparatively speaking, a bit more effective than other options rather than less. Get up close and personal if you dare. So, melee damage is minus 50%, up from the minus 33% in Nightmare. This is basically the Plague Heart's resistance to damage sources. Range damage is now minus 62.5%, up from minus 25% in Nightmare Zone. Explosives are minus 62.5%, up from minus 25% in Nightmare Zone. Fire is minus 62.5%, up from minus 25% in Nightmare Zone. And vehicle impact is down by 75% from the original 25% in Nightmare Zone. I did not think you could damage a Plague Heart with vehicles. I've actually tried that in an episode. Lethal map. There's almost nothing useful left in this town. About 70 to 80% of houses are pre-looted. There are 0 non-guaranteed drops of any kind. That means you only get resources you expect from looking at the site's flyout on the map screen, if that, and never any surprise bonus rucksacks. Other lucky finds drops are similarly reduced to very low rates or even 0, including a lot of mid-range guns. Good luck finding a ride. The map only has 33% the normal number of vehicles compared to 65% in Nightmare Zone. Vehicles are always out of gas and seriously damaged. Plague Arts are everywhere. There are 3 times the standard number of Plague Arts compared to 1.5 times in Nightmare Zone. Plague Arts are hidden, and the radio command to find them is available still. Plague Arts are allowed to cluster up with each other like crazy, unlike in Nightmare Zone, so they're going to have a tendency to kind of like infest towns. Lethal community difficulty changes. Your survivors know they are doomed. All survivors have a minus 30 morale penalty compared to minus 15 in Nightmare Zone. All survivor EXP rates are minus 60% the normal rate, which is now up from minus 30% in Nightmare Zone. Nightmare Zone used to be minus 50%, but they have reduced the penalty. So that's actually not a whole lot different now. All survivors gain standing at a minus 40% rate, down from the original Nightmare Zone 30%, but now they've reduced it to 20% in Nightmare Zone. So once again, not a whole lot different there. Resources are consumed quickly. Survivors consume 2 food each compared to 1.5 in Nightmare Zone, meaning they eat 2 food instead of 1.5. Food outposts now provide 2 food to compensate, and this time they won't break your entire community when the update launches. Costs at the same base are increased over Nightmare Zone in a few areas. Ammo costs are 150% consumed now, up from the original 100. Material costs are up to 150%, up from the original 100%. Parts are now 100% cost, up from the original 50%. Weapon repairs now cost 50% more, up from the 25% in Nightmare Zone. Vehicle fuel efficiency has been reduced by 25% compared to the no change on Nightmare Zone. Other difficulty changes. From the wish list, Nightmare Action now features Blood Plague Screamers and Bloaters in addition to existing Blood Plague Juggernauts. So it looks like you'll have all of the Blood Plague freaks in the Nightmare Zone with the exception of the Feral. Blood Plague Bloaters now do half as much plague damage on exploding because otherwise they were literally instant death when hit by a car at lethal. This is balanced out by a more intense burning lungs injury, replacing the usual gas inhalation. Blood Plague Screamers also have a new injury they apply to avoid a problem with one-shotting survivors at the lethal zone difficulty. Now they apply a single-shot chemical burns injury 75% of the time. I'm guessing by one shot, they're probably talking about death by blood plague infection. We reduced the prevalence of crossbows across the board as players have reported they're showing up too often. They used to spawn more often at higher difficulties. Now they look like this. You'll get 75% on Dread, 66% reduction. They're down to 75% on Dread Zone. They're down to 66% on Nightmare, and they're down to 50% on Lethal Zone. Fuel efficiency, which is greatly increased at Green Zone and reduced on Lethal Zone, now lives on the community slider instead of the map slider. Interesting. Optimizations for the Xbox Series X and Series S. To support the release of the new Series X and Series S consoles, we've been working hard to improve our performance and visual quality on these devices, preparing for blazingly fast load times, improved image quality, tighter controls, and a solid 60 frames per second at full 4K on the Series X or 1080p on the Series S. With these improvements, the Xbox Series X and S is by far the best console experience for State of Decay 2 players. We're working hard to make even more optimizations and also bring these improvements to the PC platform as well. Interesting. So that makes it sound like they have made their first optimization pass on the next-gen Xbox first. Don't worry, stay frosty. Just in case you're freaking out about the new Lethal Zone, we've also provided a new array of equipment and outfits designed to help you keep your cool. The Stay Frosty pack includes 11 bounties plus 4 firearms you can find by scavenging. All 15 items are brand new to the game, and we've designed these bounties to be a bit easier to complete so that you can earn bounty items more quickly. Cold Turkey. Line up a perfect shot for your holiday meal with this long-range shotgun fitted with a choke, an oversized scope, and a large tube magazine. The Midnight Solstice, a lightweight survivalist crossbow fitted with a powerful scope for long-range shots. The D-Bartini, the short-barreled version of the D-Bar, perfect for packing on long hikes. The Samurai SMG, globally popular submachine gun with excellent handling, capacity, accuracy, and a rate of fire. All-around useful item. The HB PDW, the Huntley Basher personal defense weapon, is a submachine gun stripped down to the basics, resulting in an ultralight, snappy assault platform. That one you have to find by scavenging, though. It's not a bounty item. The HBSD Blackout. This configuration of the HB submachine gun includes their patented integrated suppressor technology, delivering significant power without too much noise. The HB Snowfox, a top-of-the-line submachine gun from Huntley Basher, featuring rapid-fire options and quick reloads, winterized and reinforced with an extended magazine to boot. That one also can only be found by looting. The Oto Howitzer, the last and most essential design of the post-apocalyptic gunsmith Bubba Fitty. This lightweight 50 caliber rifle is a blast to use despite its slightly diminished range. The tactical walking stick, basically an Eskrima stick made of durable composite materials. Don't be caught on a hike without one of these close at hand. The Yukon Pathbreaker. This lightweight titanium survival axe isn't the fanciest tool in your arsenal, but it'll probably save your life one day. Maintenance bench. Install this facility mod and spend a few parts to temporarily reduce durability loss for your weapons. Winter camo tactical uniform. Okay, we admit it, this is mostly for style, but even though it's not snowing, you'll look cool wearing it. Winter camo boonie hat goes perfectly with the matching tactical uniform, or wear it with whatever you'd like. We will not judge. It also means it's time to say farewell to the World War II pack, at least for now, and be sure to finish up those bounties from the go bag before it leaves circulation later this month. But on the bright side, we are reviving the warm and toasty bundle up pack, ensuring that it's ready and waiting when the go bag hits the gas and makes its escape. Additional updates. Achievements. We've added new achievements for the total of 100 gamer score. Lilac and Spoiled Gooseberries. Kill 25 Blood Plague Bloaters. Bless me now with your fierce tears. Begin a session with minimum difficulty set to lethal. Barbershop Quartet. Kill one of each of the 4 Blood Plague Freaks with minimum difficulty set to lethal. Retrieve Biomass. Kill a Plague Heart with minimum difficulty set to lethal. All existing achievements that required you to complete them at Dread or Nightmare Zone will also apply to them on Lethal Zone, though why would you? Systems. From the wish list, we've overhauled the value of prestige, the currency awarded in Daybreak. To make each Daybreak session more rewarding, and to make Clio firearms more economically viable, you should now expect a given Daybreak session to award about twice as much prestige as it did before. So before, it was basically a full game would take about 45 to 50 minutes, and if you won the complete game, you would get about, 900 to 1100 prestige, depending on how well you get on the bonus points. So I guess now you would expect to get 1800 to 2200. All your means of obtaining ammunition for Clio weapons in the core game have been made more affordable. The Red Talon crafting station can now craft Clio ammo without charging prestige. Oh god, it should only cost the ammo resource. Wow, that's a big improvement. The Clio relay can now call in Clio ammo drops for an influence cost, not a prestige cost. Holy crap. Oh man, that is another really... The Clio core might actually be good now. Clio ammo sold by the prestige trader now costs half as much prestige as it did before. So to put it in perspective, the Clio core cost 4,000 prestige originally. Now it should only cost 2,000, and you could potentially get 2,000 prestige from a single game, assuming you win. We've also updated the reward tiers in Daybreak to loosen up the requirements. This means you can now unlock more powerful items at Wave 3 and 5. The only reward item that requires you to win Daybreak is to unlock the Clio relay. Okay, so before the way it worked was you would begin to lose your unlocks, and basically, I think it's about 50% completion and 75% completion. You would not get unlocks unless you started to a full clear of the game. You would need to get all of the rewards. So that meant that to get the very last items in your collection, you had no choice but to fully complete a game of Daybreak. And that one of the reasons that really sucked was that if you joined mid-progress on like Wave 5, well, you can't complete Wave 3, because Wave 3 is where the first reward would be. So you would join a game that you couldn't even get a reward from, and then you would leave. And not only did that suck for you, it sucked for the people who were playing, because as someone who's nearly completed the whole list, you're very experienced with Daybreak, and you've got all the good items. So those guys, they need your help. And you're like, well, doesn't benefit me, so I'm leaving. Not that I'd blame you. I would do the same thing. From the wish list, the Mysterious Wandering Trader can now show up on Mondays, in addition to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to fit more players' schedules. The Dread action slider now correctly reports that zombies do not appear on the minimap under normal conditions. We also fixed several minor issues with UI readability. Missions. The in-world mission markers that we originally used for opening missions in Providence Ridge now applies to all missions throughout the game. That means you can see your current mission objectives as an icon in the HUD, not just as an arrow on the minimap. If this isn't your thing, you can disable show in-world objectives in the HUD section of the settings menu. When your survivors start a new campaign complaining that they are out of gas, and you can no longer immediately open up the trunk of their vehicle and find that it's full of gas and that your survivors are idiots. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. It was really nice to so that basically, if I'm understanding this right, it means when you start a brand new random survivor campaign, you're not going to find that there secretly was gas in your trunk all along, and just be able to get the vehicle up and running immediately. The built-in facilities found in Prescott Fire Station now count properly towards progressing the Builder Safe at Home and Builder Strength in Numbers mission. Facilities. The actions on the staging area that accelerate build times now only take 5 seconds to trigger, rather than half an hour, which defeated the purpose. Good God, that is an excellent improvement, because by time you would complete the staging area ability, which helps you build your base faster, you'd already have built your base. The parking indicator when driving a vehicle into a parking slot at your base now reliably appears very quickly, so you know you're in the right spot. Gameplay. We fixed a bug that was preventing multiplayer clients from busting open doors by sprinting into them in the host's game. Now, I guess you control your host all you want now by ramming through all the doors and making as much noise as you want. We fixed a bug that made it possible to take a community member's backpack without emptying it first, causing all the contents to teleport into the supply locker. Throwing an explosive now cancels a heavy weapon swing rather than turning the weapon invisible, as neat as it was. We also fixed several minor outfit clipping issues. Clouds no longer continue to move while the game is paused, because that was just weird. And, well, there you go. That is a pretty big update, at least in terms of patch notes for Update 23. Looks like we got some pretty logical quality of life changes. I think one of the best things in here is definitely the improvements to Daybreak. Like, I might actually play Daybreak now, just because it is not nearly as punishing as it was before. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. How do you think Undead Labs did with Update 23? Are you going to go into Daybreak now? Are you going to try Lethal Zone? Are you interested in the bounties? Let me know down in the comment section. But at any rate, that is that. Remember to subscribe for more State of Decay 2 content. And what are the other YouTube things? There's also the liking the video if it was informative. And of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.